Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. How are you this morning? Hope you're doing all right. Good morning to you. How are you this morning? Good morning. Hello, hello. Hope you're doing great this morning. This beautiful fall day. Hey, Vicky, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Pray your day is well. Good morning. All right, friends, let's get going this morning. It is the 10th day of October on this Thursday at 11:11. Welcome, and I pray that the day is treating you well and that these days are sweet and good. Many of you know last year at just about this time, I completed a part of the Camino de Santiago with a group called Warriors on the Way. They are a group that take about a dozen combat veterans on Camino, on the trip through Spain, backpacking, hiking, rucking, on pilgrimage through Spain to Santiago, where the bones of St. James lay. And this is one of the most traditional pilgrimages in the world. It's one of the oldest sustained pilgrimages. It's been going on for at least 1,000 years, as we know of. We can probably trace back much longer. And the next iteration of them just came into Santiago late yesterday. And so, where we were, the 2023 cohort, my little group of nine pilgrims, their little group of pilgrims was the 2024 cohort. And so it has been a year since I set off and walked that ground, and now I've kind of vicariously through Facebook have the opportunity to watch those new pilgrims come through and have the experience of coming through that the crucible of what it is to get up in the morning, walk 15 or 20 miles through whatever conditions God gives you. And they certainly had they were in the middle of Hurricane Kirk. Actually, they ended up was the remnants of Hurricane Kirk that was hitting Europe at that time. And so they actually had some of the trail that had turned into streams, and they had all sorts of arduous things to contend with. And just like all of our pilgrimages, just like all of our walks, just like all of our ways through this life, there is inevitable encounters with the storms of life. And yet there is a traditional greeting that was on the Camino that I never heard when I was there or was never used, but it is the medieval and the ancient kind of idea of how pilgrims would greet one another. And so as pilgrims were meeting on the Camino, one would call out Ultreia, and the other would et Suseia, which they're Latin for these ways of saying onward, or further up, and Suseia, further in, further up and further on, further up or further on, further up or further in. There's a few different ways it can be translated. But this invitation, one, to when pilgrims meet, encourage one another, which is, I think, is it was for me to see those 20 through that picture of those pilgrims this year holding up their little 2024 banner in the way that I had held up my little 2023 banner. That was an encouragement to me to be able to see uh, in a strange and beautiful way. It was as if we were ancient pilgrims calling to one another, Ultreia at Suseia, that they that as that they were more committed to the upward way, to the journey of the upward way, and this way of of healing that they had committed themselves to go do this thing that they said would that that they didn't necessarily know what they were going to find, just as I didn't necessarily know what I was going to find, but the willingness to commit ourselves to the work of and the walk of the way, the work and the walk of finding ourselves towards that holy city of, in this case, Santiago, and doing that in an outward and physical way, so that in an inward and spiritual way we might mirror that and that in it we might greet one another along the road, Ultreia et Suseia, further up and further on. My hope for you today is that as we gather, that you'll hear those words of Camino, that you'll hear those words of greeting, which have long passed into obscurity, but that you might hear them from me this day. That we're that this invitation to the to the life of spirit, that is an invitation to a life that is beyond simply this one. It is beyond simply the making our bagel in the morning and the making sure the dishes are done, beyond even putting our hand to the work of our days, to making sure our 401ks somehow are working out or not, whatever is going on. That just the grind and the grunch of life, and the steps that we take in each and every day, and the ways in which we're working through the grind of our lives, to understand that is simply the the gravel under our feet, the step of the day, the crunch of our feet upon the path, and all the different pieces and the parts that go into that. But the wider call and the greater invitation is that we are at the same time we're forming blisters, or our pack might feel heavy, or the weight of our lives might weigh us down, or the winds and the rain of our environment might pelt us and soak us to the bone. That in our true walk, that we are ever being called further on and further in, and that this walk that we think can be just so basic, so without form, so kind of I'm just doing the things that I'm doing, and that we can even question the reality of our own spiritual life in some ways. We can, because we can get so caught up in all of the details and the pieces and the parts, and yet what I saw when I got to look at that picture of those pilgrims that completed the Warriors on the Way pilgrimage this year versus the time that I was there, what I saw in them was not their wet packs and their soaked exteriors. What I saw in them was not the aching knees and the aching back and the blistered feet. What I saw in them was the blossoming response to that call of further up and further in, the one that never ends. And this is the thing. We think that we've never entered the spiritual path, or we think that we somehow have screwed it up. We've made a mistake. We've taken a wrong turn. We're lost in the woods. We're off the path. We're into the weeds. We're bogged in the swamp. We've broken our ankle. We've lost our poles. Whatever We think that we somehow have lost our way, but that is the way. Those are the things that happen. And that we can have this sense of our own vision of what might have been perfect, what might have been our perfect walk, what might have been our perfect way, what might have been what our Camino was supposed to look like, what our lives was supposed to look like, what our connection with God is supposed to look like, or even our lack of connection with God, what that's supposed to look like. But at the end of the day, there is the simple call, Ultreia et Suseia, further on, further up, and further in. That, friends, I hope in these days that you will see in your life this recall from a stranger on the path. You will hear this call from a way that is that is deeper and wider and more real than anything you could have ever experienced, and one that works on you in a way that you're not fully aware of. That you've this quest for a spiritual life. If you're listening to my voice, there's probably some sense of you wanting to deepen something, or have some sort of connection, or some sort of way in which that you feel called on. Whatever that is, and whatever the difficulty in the path is, this is the path. That this life, this walk that we have, this is the way. And all of its losses and its heartbreaks, all of its getting stuck, all of its getting hurt, all of its falling down, and all of its getting up. That this call, that you might hear my voice today as a call to Ultreia et Suseia, further up and further on. Friends, this is our basic and most alive call in life. It's the thing we are here to do, is to draw closer and to the one who made us. It is come closer to his table. It is to ascend the holy mountain in all of the different ways. And no ascending comes without falling down. No ascending comes without encountering, as the great Pilgrim's Progress narrative always laid out, without the dismal swamp and the swamp of desolation, and without the encounters with Vanity Fair and all of the things in between. But that the call always stays the same, further up and further in. I hope, friends, that you this day will take encouragement to go further up and further in, and to know that even if you can't feel that, if that's not like a warm, fuzzy, chocolatey feeling right now, that's fine. But to know that that is the reality of the life that you're living. That is the reality of the draw on your life that Jesus has for you. That is the reality in which we are encountering everything in our lives. And that they all are a part of this pilgrim's walk. And they're all a part of this pilgrim's path. And they work themselves out in this gritty and gnarly and often stupid world in which we find ourselves. But that inside and underneath and on the way, we hear the call of the one who made us, Ultreia et Suseia, further up and further in. All right, friends, that's my hope for you today. I pray that that peace and grace are upon you all in this day, and that in it we might have the chance to come together next week again with another 11:11. Friends, this weekend we are worshiping at 10 o'clock because we have our Blessing of the Animal service. If you have an animal, if you are an animal, come, receive a blessing. Bring your pet, your furry, four-legged, feathered friend. Our commitment is, if they will fit through the door, we will bless them at the front of the church. So I hope that you can be a part of that service. We have a petting zoo out front that the kids will be a part of for their Sunday school lesson, and they'll have some fun with that. It's a great day here that we raise up in the spirit of Francis and his beloved connection to creation. We raise up in the spirit of our hope and our love for creation, and the lives that we share with our pets and with those creatures that God has given us to care for and to love. Hope you'll be a part of it in whatever form you can. And until then, peace and grace to you, my friend. Ultreia et Suseia, further up and further in. And we'll pick it up next week with another 1111.